The all-share index crossed a psychological threshold of 70,000 points for the first time on Wednesday this week after stocks gained for the third straight session. Meanwhile, investors are clawing back gains at midday. But could we say this upturned as trade winds down? Muktar Mohammed, analyst at Assar Investments, joins me now for some market updates. Muktar, thank you for joining us today.
For having me.
We saw the all-share index hitting 70,000 points. That's the highest on record, although right today investors are already booking a profit of those mid and large cap stocks that we saw leading the rally on Wednesday. But I'd like to just hear your thoughts, just that moment crossing 70,000 points, the highest, as I said, on record. What would you attribute this to? Is it a combination of so many factors or just one factor?
Esther, it was an historic moment yesterday, and I think it's a moment that every investor, stockbroker, and every player of the market will always want to talk about in future and now. Now, it's a combination of different, like you say, a combination of different things that made it happen like that. We've seen the result from the companies, especially the financial sector. We've seen them boost their earnings by almost 2 to 3, so some of them by 2 to 3 times what they did last quarter this time. We've seen the financial stock for the first time hitting an earning of over 10 naira, especially for the tier one bank. So that was very historic. And then the price, of course, should normally just move up to meet up with what the earnings are saying, and the PA ratios of some of these equity are still very low, especially the financial sector. So that contributed to what we saw in the market. You call the gain from the financial sector, and also for the conglomerate. Also, people were expecting such too much of a negative result, especially with the FX issue. But what we saw there was surprising, especially when you look at stocks like Dangote. So surprise, Japan oil also came up with some surprises, so that investors felt that it's as the Nigerian economics of the Nigerian company are really resilient to some of the microeconomic challenges that we are having. And that was what was responsible for that, for what we saw in the 70,000 mark crossing yesterday.
Oh, quite interesting.
Now today, you just said it.
Quite interesting. But I'd like to talk about the fact that this is a new trading month. And as you know, it's that time when portfolio managers are rebalancing their portfolio. But I'm curious, what would a typical portfolio look like right now? I know that obviously there's going to be tier one banks will be well represented in those portfolios. But, with this rising tide at the market, like you mentioned, Japan oil also gaining yesterday, what would a typical portfolio look like right now?
I think a typical portfolio will come up with varieties, and I think that's what people, like you said, the financial stocks will be there. They will look at the conglomerate sector and also look at the numbers, especially the cement sector. They could also key in there. Today we had news that the president are looking for maybe going for loans, and most of those loans will be channeled towards businesses. Most of those loans also will be channeled towards building infrastructure, so the conglomerate sector will benefit. You also see that play up also in the consumer goods sector, especially for some stocks that gave us better than was expected result. So investors might begin to look at that, and there will be the increment in minimum wage, so consumer confidence will come up. There will be a lot of purchasing power for Nigeria. That could also have an impact. We are going to the festive period, which we know that the brewery sector seems to be the more profitable because of events that happen during the festivity period. Then a lot of Nigerians will also look at the communication sector. Even if some of the results that came in saw the impact, especially the FX impact on them at Airtel and MTN. But investors will also look at this festivity period and realize that most of these companies are the ones that benefit during this period. So a typical portfolio we consider of the financial stocks, then you talk about the conglomerate, then you see them move to the telecommunication space and also the consumer goods sector. But again, if you think of ratio in terms of percentage, I believe most of them might be just doing 60% for the financial stocks, then they share the remaining 40% within the other sectors.
Right now, Let's talk about the telcos for a bit. MTN Nigeria specifically and Airtel Africa. I know that Airtel Africa was one of the biggest winners yesterday. But just going through the results of both companies, obviously we saw data revenue coming in strong. But there was that FX element to it and, of course, rising operating costs, especially for, I believe that was for Airtel Africa. The mobile money segment didn't particularly do too well, although still in line with their expectations. It's still a growing and evolving business line for them. Do you think investors are a little worried going forward because these telcos are looking for, they're keen on having a tariff review? They say that that will help them, of course, help the bottom line, help them with the running costs, etc. They believe that cost tariffs right now are not particularly cost reflective. What are your thoughts on that? Is this a worry for investors for these businesses going forward?
No, I don't think it should be a worry for investors and the business going forward. Definitely, we expect these tariff issues to have been resolved by now. But remember that is what the NCC that stopped them from increasing tariff. And the NCC do that at that time because they were also looking at giving them a tax holiday, especially in terms of value-added tax. I mean, before now, the Financial Act said that they should start paying taxes, but the former minister was able to was able to work towards suspension of that, and so, but that suspension is still in place. So going forward, if they want to look at tariff, then they will also maybe looking at paying more taxes on their on services that are being brought in from outside the shore of this country. That could not go well for them. I think what they would do is that they will have to re-strategize. There's no how they will not increase tariff, like you just rightly pointed out. Cost of business has gone up, and the FX challenges are still there. There's no stability. We are not seeing stability in that space yet. And we expect that to impact on their result, and for them to be able to give value for the investors, they will definitely look at increasing tariff going forward.
Well, speaking about FX, we had some reports making the rounds today. You probably heard also that the CBN may have cleared some or perhaps even all. We don't know yet. We cannot independently confirm that. The backlog that we have on the ground estimated as somewhere between 6.5 and 10 billion US dollars. Did the market take this? Is the market paying any attention to this news, or it's going to be a wait and see? Let's see if this is even true in the first place.
You said it, Esther. It's going to be a wait and see until we get official confirmation. They've always told us they have to do this, they have to do this. So I believe that if they have finally done it, they need to let the market know, and that will boost confidence in the market, knowing that a lot of foreign investors also, their money are part of the money that they have to be paid also. So definitely, if that happens, that brings confidence to the market. We'll see that playing in the market in terms of going forward, in terms of capital appreciation, and then most especially in terms of confidence. And that could just be the game changer to see the foreign investor comes into the market. Remember that what we're seeing largely now is being driven by local investors. Local investors, both retail and institutional local investors. So if we have stability in that space and this payment have been made, I think it will be good news for the market in the near future, maybe not in the immediate future, because that volatility is still there.
Right. We have about a minute left. Before I let you go, let's talk about your outlook for the trading month. What stocks are on your radar? The stocks that you think will be some among the top performing this month?
I think we shouldn't take our eyes off the conglomerate sectors. I'm talking about Dangote Sugar, Dangote Cement. We are still waiting for that synergy between Dangote Sugar and then Dangote and NASCOM, National Salt, into Dangote's food. So we could see that stock going up. Also, not take ahead of Dangote Cement. That also is a stock to look at for. And the communication sector also, MTN or Airtel, if those price increment comes, and it has become part of a regular life for Nigerians to use their communication device, and data is also king. And again, the financial sector, especially when you are looking for dividend payout, the tier one banks look very, very impressive.
Right. We'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Muktar, for talking to us. Always a pleasure having you on the show. Muktar Mohammed, analyst at Assar Investments.